Deuteronomy, meaning second law or repetition of the law, stands as the fifth and final book of the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. This book holds a unique place in the biblical narrative, serving as both a conclusion to the journey of the Israelites and a prelude to their future in the Promised Land. It takes the form of a series of speeches and sermons delivered by Moses to the Israelites on the plains of Moab, just before they enter the Promised Land. These speeches are not just historical recounts, but are filled with deep emotional and spiritual significance, as Moses knows this is his final opportunity to guide his people. As Moses prepares to depart from his people, he reflects on their 40-year journey through the wilderness and reiterates the laws and covenant God made with them at Mount Sinai. This reflection is not merely a nostalgic look back, but a critical review of their collective experiences, emphasizing the lessons learned and the divine guidance received. Deuteronomy is not merely a repetition of previous laws, it offers a reinterpretation and adaptation of those laws for a new generation about to inherit a land flowing with milk and honey. Moses understands that the context has changed, and with it, the application of the laws must also evolve to meet the new challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Moses emphasizes the importance of remembering their past, learning from their mistakes, and remaining faithful to their covenant with God. He stresses that their identity as a people is deeply intertwined with their history and their relationship with the divine. His words are a mixture of encouragement, warning, and heartfelt pleas for his people to choose a life of obedience and blessing. He knows that the choices they make will determine their future prosperity and their ability to maintain their unique identity among the nations. The book is framed as a covenant renewal ceremony, where the Israelites are reminded of the terms of their relationship with God and the consequences of their choices. This renewal is not just a formality, but a profound reaffirmation of their commitment to live according to divine principles. It is a powerful testament to the enduring power of faith, the importance of remembering one's history, and the ongoing struggle to live according to divine law. The themes of faithfulness, obedience, and the consequences of straying from the path are woven throughout Moses' speeches. Deuteronomy serves as a bridge between the wilderness wanderings and the challenges of settling in a new land. It prepares the Israelites for the transition from a nomadic lifestyle to establishing a permanent home, with all the responsibilities and trials that come with it. It is a book of transition, urging the Israelites to embrace their destiny while holding fast to the lessons learned during their years of hardship and dependence on God. Moses' final words are a call to courage, faith, and unwavering commitment to the path laid out by their divine guide, ensuring that the legacy of their journey and the wisdom gained will endure for generations to come. Deuteronomy holds a unique and significant place within both the Pentateuch, also known as the Torah, and the larger narrative of the Old Testament. This book is not just another part of the scripture. It is a cornerstone that ties together the foundational beliefs and laws of the Jewish faith. It serves as the culmination of the Torah, the foundation of Jewish law and belief. The Torah, comprising the first 5 books of the Bible, is central to Jewish religious life, and Deuteronomy stands as its final summarizing book. It serves as the culmination of the Torah, the foundation of Jewish law and belief. The book's emphasis on covenant, law, and the consequences of obedience or disobedience shapes the moral and spiritual landscape of the entire Hebrew Bible. The book's emphasis on covenant, law, and the consequences of obedience or disobedience shapes the moral and spiritual landscape of the entire Hebrew Bible. Deuteronomy reiterates the laws given earlier in the Torah and expands upon them, providing a deeper understanding of what it means to live in accordance with God's will. Within the Pentateuch, Deuteronomy acts as a bridge between the narrative of the Exodus and the historical books that follow. It connects the story of the Israelites' liberation from Egypt with their journey towards the Promised Land, creating a continuous narrative that underscores God's ongoing relationship with his people. It summarizes and reinterprets the key events of the Exodus, reminding the Israelites of God's liberating power and their responsibility to live as a freed people. This retelling serves not only as a historical account, but also as a theological reflection on the significance of these events. At the same time, it prepares them for the challenges of conquest and settlement that await them in the Promised Land. The book outlines the laws and principles that will guide them in establishing a just and faithful society in their new home. Deuteronomy's themes of covenant and law resonate throughout the Old Testament. The prophets, for example, often draw upon Deuteronomy's language and imagery to call the people back to faithfulness and warn against the dangers of idolatry and injustice. The prophets, for example, often draw upon Deuteronomy's language and imagery to call the people back to faithfulness and warn against the dangers of idolatry and injustice. This prophetic tradition underscores the enduring relevance of Deuteronomy's teachings. The book's influence can also be seen in the Psalms, the wisdom literature, and the historical books. These writings reflect the same themes of covenant, law, and the relationship between God and His people, demonstrating the pervasive impact of Deuteronomy on the entire Old Testament. Deuteronomy's central message of a God who is both loving and demanding, who blesses obedience and punishes disobedience, forms the backbone of the Old Testament's understanding of the relationship between God and humanity. This duality of God's nature is a recurring theme that shapes the moral and ethical teachings of the Bible. It is a book that has shaped Jewish identity and faith for millennia. Its teachings continue to influence Jewish religious practices, ethical standards, and community life, making it a timeless and essential part of the Jewish tradition. At the core of Deuteronomy lies the concept of covenant, the binding agreement between God and the people of Israel. This covenant, first established with Abraham and renewed at Mount Sinai, forms the bedrock of the Israelites' relationship with God. Deuteronomy emphasizes that this relationship is not one-sided. It entails both privileges and responsibilities. God's love for Israel is unwavering, demonstrated through the miraculous deliverance from Egypt and the gift of the Promised Land. However, this love is contingent upon the Israelites' obedience to the law, a set of commandments and statutes designed to guide their lives and reflect their special status as God's chosen people. Obedience to the law is presented not as a burden, but as a joyful response to God's love and an act of gratitude for His blessings. It is also portrayed as essential for the well-being of the community and the preservation of their unique identity. Disobedience, on the other hand, carries with it the threat of divine punishment, including exile from the land and the loss of God's favor. Deuteronomy emphasizes that the covenant is a dynamic and ongoing reality, requiring constant renewal and recommitment. It is a reminder that the relationship between God and His people is built on both love and law, grace and responsibility. Section 4: Moses' Farewell Speeches, a legacy of guidance and warning. Much of Deuteronomy is structured around three major speeches delivered by Moses to the Israelites as they prepare to enter the Promised Land. These speeches are not just historical records. They are Moses' heartfelt attempts to prepare his people for a future without his direct leadership. These speeches are not mere historical accounts. They are imbued with urgency, emotion, and a profound sense of the weight of the moment. Moses speaks with a fervor that reflects his deep concern for the spiritual and moral well-being of the Israelites. Moses uses his final days to remind the people of their past, urging them to remember their deliverance from slavery in Egypt and their experiences in the wilderness. He wants them to never forget the hardships they endured and the divine interventions that guided them. He recounts their failures and triumphs, emphasizing the importance of learning from both. The stories of their journey are filled with lessons about faith, obedience, and the consequences of straying from their covenant with God. He reiterates the law, explaining its principles and practical applications in their new lives. Moses knows that the law is not just a set of rules, but a guide to living a life that is pleasing to God and beneficial to the community. Interspersed with these instructions are warnings against the allure of idolatry, the dangers of forgetting their covenant with God, and the temptations they will face in a land of abundance. Moses is acutely aware that prosperity can lead to complacency and a turning away from spiritual commitments. Moses' words are a mixture of fatherly concern, prophetic zeal, and unwavering faith in the God who has led them this far. His speeches are filled with a deep love for his people and a passionate desire to see them succeed in their new homeland. These speeches are not simply a farewell. They are a legacy of guidance and wisdom intended to shape the destiny of the Israelite nation for generations to come. Moses' words are meant to be remembered, recited, and lived by, serving as a constant reminder of their identity and mission. They are a testament to the enduring power of leadership, the importance of passing on tradition, and the profound impact one person can have on the course of history. Moses' legacy is not just in the laws he gave or the battles he fought, but in the hearts and minds of the people he led, who would carry his teachings forward into the Promised Land and beyond. Section 5. Remembering the Past, Shaping the Future, Deuteronomy's Historical Perspective. Deuteronomy is deeply concerned with history, both as a source of instruction and as a foundation for the future. Moses repeatedly calls upon the Israelites to remember their past, not simply as a nostalgic exercise, but as a vital act of faith and identity formation. He reminds them of their humble beginnings as slaves in Egypt, their miraculous deliverance at the Red Sea, and their wanderings in the wilderness. These events are not presented as mere stories, but as foundational experiences that have shaped their identity as a people chosen and redeemed by God. Deuteronomy emphasizes that remembering the past is essential for shaping a righteous future. By recalling God's faithfulness and their own failings, the Israelites can learn from their mistakes, avoid repeating past errors, and live in a way that honors their covenant with God. This emphasis on remembering the past has a profound impact on how the Israelites understand their place in the world and their responsibility to future generations. It underscores the idea that history is not simply what happened in the past. It is a living force that shapes the present and guides the future.